In response to the demands of modern life, we're constantly being told to be kind to ourselves and to prioritise self-love and self-care. There are posts all over social media with messages like self-love isn't selfish, love yourself first, and a ton of self-care challenges being shared to encourage us to spend more time being kind to ourselves. And the idea is that if we're compassionate to ourselves, we're more likely to be fulfilled and happy. And then we're able to achieve challenging goals and provide value to others too. But the big question is, will all of this time that we spend caring for ourselves actually lead to happiness and fulfillment? Or will it just turn us into complacent, self-indulgent human beings who spend all our time pampering ourselves? I found the answers to these questions in a new book written by psychologist Kristin Neff. I'll be summarising the key points in this book in my journal and sharing them with you in this video. In her book, Fierce Self-Compassion, Kristin talks about what compassion really is. When we think of self-compassion, we generally think of kind, gentle, loving forces. Kristin argues that this is only half of the story. She believes that compassion has two sides, the nurturing side and the fierce side. And she brings this to life by comparing it to yin and yang. Yin is the tender side and yang is the fierce side. One without the other is incomplete. The yin quality of tender self-compassion involves being with ourselves and being accepting. It's soothing ourselves, reassuring ourselves, and being mindful of our pain and discomfort. Picture a mother cradling and rocking her crying child. The yang quality of fierce self-compassion is associated with acting in the world to protect, provide, or motivate. Think mama bear who fiercely protects her cubs if they're threatened. This fierce energy can also be turned inward to protect ourselves and provide for ourselves or motivate ourselves. To be able to thrive and make positive change, you can't have one side of compassion without the other. For example, having the kind, tender side alone can lead to acceptance with no action. Acceptance is important, but it's just the first step. It shouldn't be the only step. Making a change must follow, and this is where the fierce side plays a big part. And I feel like it's downplayed when we think about compassion or hear about compassion. According to Kristin's model of self-compassion, there are three fundamental elements, and knowing how to use these in different scenarios is how you'll be able to use your compassion to make positive changes to your life and the world. Number one, mindfulness. And this is the ability to acknowledge our discomfort, be fully present with it and see it clearly, rather than pretending it's not there. We can't heal what we can't feel. Number two is common humanity, which involves connecting with the wider world, recognizing that all humans are imperfect and lead imperfect lives. When we're feeling down, our immediate emotional reaction is to think that everyone else is living a normal, problem-free life and it's just us having difficulties. But pain is part of the shared human experience. We all feel it, and being able to tap into this wisdom is what helps us see the bigger picture. Kindness is number three. And this is a warm and supportive attitude towards ourselves. It's being genuinely good to yourself with comfort and acceptance. When you make a mistake, receive bad news, or face problems, you're kind to yourself. Self-kindness is saying, this is really hard. How can I care for myself in this moment? Like how you would ask a good friend. It's a tool you can use to make hard things much more bearable and make things feel rewarding and fulfilling. By the way, I've summarised everything in this video in a blog post if you need to refer back to any of it. So how do you use the model in practice? The key question is to ask yourself, what do I need right now? The answer as to whether we need tender or fierce self-compassion depends on our circumstances. Sometimes we just need to accept ourselves and our human imperfection, and we just need tender self-compassion. A way of using the self-compassion model at these times is to take a self-compassion break. To practice this, think about a problem you're facing, whether at work or at home. You're then going to say a few words to yourself that will slowly make the pain more bearable. First, tap into the mindfulness part of the model. This means being fully present with the pain or discomfort. Make a statement that acknowledges it. One that I use is a simple, "This is hard." For example, if I'm having a really stressful moment with my kids or my work, if I can find a moment to step away, I'll just say in my head, "This is hard." There's something quite calming about saying it and being present with it, rather than ignoring it and just feeling more and more overwhelmed. The second phrase is to remind you of how you're connected to the wider world. So you can say things to yourself like, "I'm not alone," or "This is what suffering or discomfort feels like to everyone," or "We all face challenges in our lives." Remember, this part isn't used to dismiss the feeling. The goal is to appreciate that what we're feeling isn't abnormal and suffering is part of life for everyone. The third and final step is to invite in the kindness and say something like, "I will be kind to myself," or "I will accept myself as I am." And if you feel comfortable enough talking to yourself, you can say, "I'm here for you." It might sound really strange talking to yourself in this way, but it's worth trying a self-compassion break in a stressful situation and seeing how calming it can be. If, on the other hand, you're feeling angry or upset about something, you might be in a situation where you need to protect, provide, or motivate yourself or others. This is when you combine fierce self-compassion with tender self-compassion, using the same three components: mindfulness, common humanity, and kindness. And they all take different forms and look slightly different depending on whether you're protecting, motivating, or providing. In a protect scenario, you might identify that you need to draw boundaries or stand up to someone. Maybe you feel like you're being taken advantage of by a co-worker, a neighbour being disrespectful, or even a family member pushing their views on you. Think about the situation and let the fierce or angry feelings arise. Anger, frustration, whatever it is. Be mindful of them and how they really feel. You can say something like, "It's okay to be angry. This is the natural desire to protect myself." Stay with the anger without getting caught up in what actually happened. Focus on the harm that was caused rather than the people causing it. And this is really important because anger can take an unhealthy form and become aggressive if you focus on attacking a person rather than focusing on preventing harm. The aim of the mindfulness phase here is to bring clarity to the situation. Use some phrases that help you to do that, like, "I can see what's happening," or "This is not okay," or "This is unfair." Find words that work for you. Then remember common humanity to draw strength and empowerment from others. So you can say things like, "I'm not alone. Other people have experienced this as well. By standing up for myself, I'm standing up for others." Or you can even just say, "Me too." Use the third component, kindness, to give yourself the support to take action. For protection, this means creating feelings of bravery and committing to being kind to yourself to keep yourself safe. Some phrases you can use are, "I will protect myself," "I am strong," "I can do this." The goal is to use this fierce energy that is created to protect you and combine it with the tender self-compassion to be able to take action. When the situation you're facing is related to your needs not being met, for example, not taking enough time for yourself or spending lots of your free time doing things that don't make you happy, the self-compassion break is focused on providing for yourself and encouraging authenticity, balance, and fulfillment. The phrases you'll use in the exercise are a bit different in this case. The mindfulness phase is used to encourage authenticity, to make yourself aware of your deepest needs. So phrases you can say to yourself are, "This is what's really important to me," or "My needs matter," or "This is my true self." Then we have the common humanity phase, and the purpose of this one is to remind yourself to balance your needs with others. Saying things like, "I will honour the needs of myself and others," or "Life involves giving as well as receiving." The phrases to bring out self-kindness, which is the third phase of this model, will represent our commitment to take steps to give ourselves what we need. This is fulfillment. So you can try saying, "I will commit to fulfilling my needs," or "I will do everything I can to be healthy and well." Here we're combining the fierce and tender energies to take action to be more fulfilled, while appreciating that you're already whole exactly as you are. Your desire to fulfill your needs then comes from a stronger, more balanced position, and you're using your self-compassion to give you power to be there for others too. Again, creating balance. So self-love and self-care and compassion can actually help you help others. Finally, when you're using your fierce self-compassion to motivate, this will be situations you'd like to change, like exercising more or being trapped in a job you don't like and want to change. You want to summon energy and willpower in these scenarios. So start by picturing an alternative reality that would be better for you, like doing yoga every morning or spending your days writing. Allow the feelings to arise when you think of these things, whether it's fear, disappointment, excitement, whatever they may be. Then bring in the 3 components of self-compassion to motivate yourself to make a change. So again, find phrases that you can say out loud to yourself that work for you. The goal of the mindfulness phase is to invite in a clear vision of what you want things to look like. So you can say things like, this is the vision I want for myself, or this is possible for me. The common humanity phase that connects you to the wider world is then used to bring out wisdom, to remind yourself that everyone finds this hard and gets things wrong. Saying things like, this is a learning opportunity, or I'm not the only one who has faced a challenge like this. That one in particular helps me a lot. Just thinking that in my mind when I face difficult challenges in my business or with my kids. Then use kindness to support yourself. You can say to yourself, I want to help myself reach my goals, or I will support you, or just try your best and see what happens. If you struggle with these, imagine what you would say to a friend struggling with the situation. Overall, the purpose of this is to give you the supportive energy you need to make a change while letting go of the need for it to be perfect. Because waiting for perfection can often get in the way of action. Getting better at working with anger in this way, combining the fierce and the tender, can really help reduce the intensity and frequency of angry outbursts, and instead you can use the fierce energy to tackle big issues and injustice. A lot of this fierce energy was used for big movements like BLM and Me Too. According to Kristin, we have to get angry. If we aren't angry, we're asleep. We have to use that anger and fierceness, be grateful for the strength and determination it gives us, and use it to make positive changes and combat injustice. Kristin explains that this book is written for women because we're at a pivotal moment in history to make a change. We can do it with fierce compassion. Women often feel ashamed of their angry side because they're taught that they need to be gentle and tender caregivers. Instead, Kristin says that we should thank our anger and use it constructively to motivate action in our own lives and in the wider world. This was a great read. The book really teaches you the value of self-compassion when you balance the fierce and the tender sides, and if practiced properly, self-compassion isn't selfish, isn't naive acceptance, and it isn't self-pity or indulgence. There's so much more information in the book, so I suggest you check it out if you're interested in these ideas. Let me know in the comments what you think of these ideas and the activities I mentioned, and whether you're thinking about picking up the book. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.